Well, good day, YouTubers, friends and family across this world. I want to thank you all for tuning in today to Weird Weather Wednesday with the World Weather Warriors. I'm Mike, your host of Morning D.E.W, and this live stream event on every Wednesday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. I know there's nobody here right now, but I'm sure there'll be a few people here visiting soon. We're going to be doing live chat, so hit up that live chat section. Let me know what you're thinking. Ask some questions. We're going to be talking about a few things today. Major hot topics are going to be mini ice age. We're going to be talking about atmospheric compression earthquakes. We're also going to be talking about atmospheric rivers. And right now, I would like to welcome everybody and introduce you to today's guest. Our guest today is Mark Mucci, and he is a studied earthquake forecaster in the United States. And say hi, Mark. Welcome to the live stream on the Weird Weather Wednesday with the World Weather Warriors.
What's up, Warriors? World Weather Warriors. All right, on. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, you're welcome. It's a pleasure having you. And you are the earthquake man.
I don't know. I'm a stoner from the back in the old days, but I'm definitely interested in seismic activity in the world and weather anomalies and climate change, and some of it's political, but I'm definitely interested and focused on seismology, geology, and earthquakes and volcanoes.
That's right. Awesome. I love your research, and you do have a YouTube channel as well on here, and I direct you and all the viewers to check out his earthquake forecast videos. He stays pretty up to date, and from what I've seen, he's probably about 95%. Hey, what do you think, Mark?
I'd say that's a fair estimate, about 95% accurate as far as location, timing, and magnitude in general. There's other areas that I don't really focus on. And so my primary area of focus is around the Pacific Plate, the western side of the Pacific Plate, Japan, Indonesia, the Philippines, down in New Zealand, and then over in South America on the west coast, and up in through Central America and the west coast of North America are my primary focus. I do sometimes look at all the earthquakes over in Europe and through China and Russia and India, but mostly around the Pacific Plate, because that's the areas where most of the people that I know live and work in. So that's the area of my focus as far as where I forecast most of the earthquakes for.
Oh, okay. Great stuff. So what do you know about atmospheric compression earthquakes?
I really know very little. Just, what I've seen from other YouTube videos that are suggested in the news stream. But I'm anxious to learn about it. You and I have talked before about that I do think that there is a connection to not only climate and weather, but also solar and planetary alignments as far as the large, deep earthquakes that I believe are what induce large, shallow earthquakes. Primary area of my focus so far has been that large, deep earthquakes produce large, shallow earthquakes, and that seismic pressure moves in a fixed trajectory around the plate boundaries across fault lines and fracture zones. But the precursor to these earthquakes is large, deep earthquakes. However, recently I've stumbled onto your channel and a few others that are leading me to believe that there's a connection to the large, deep earthquakes with the solar and planetary alignments and weather anomalies.
Correct.
So that's where I'm kind of hoping that you'll take the opportunity in this video, this live stream, to teach me as other people tune in and they can learn at the same time. So maybe from the two different perspectives, we can teach people some things they didn't know, and maybe they can teach us a few things here or there in the chat.
Exactly.
I'm going to take these glasses off. I only wore them for you.
Yeah, I got this light coming in here, and like with looking at the screen and then that light coming in, it's really bright, so I gotta do it.
Right. That's okay. I did notice that watching your videos. I'm like, I'm telling you to take your glasses off, but you can't hear me.
No doubt.
It's okay.
Okay.
That's your look. That's your thing.
Yeah, that's right.
That's okay. We got to have a thing. My thing is my Hello Kitty cup.
Oh, nice.
Right here.
And there is a big story behind that.
There is a big story behind that.
Yeah. So, what I know about atmospheric compression earthquakes is just from my studies over the years. Watching satellite imagery for, as long as the internet has been able to provide it, I've been watching it. And it's out only as of the last 10 to 15 years where I've noticed that even hurricanes, typhoons, cyclones, they've caused earthquakes throughout time. In China, throughout China and Japan, when they've had major storms sitting over top of them, they've also had 5 to 6.0 earthquakes around the same time, either before or after. And
Right.
And it kind of makes sense to me, like with our atmosphere, and we've got a low pressure up there. Picture filling up a balloon with water and resting it on Earth, pretty much.
Right.
It would compress. It would push down on the atmosphere. It would push down on the topography.
Right, because the plates are not connected, and it's essentially what they are plates.
Right.
And so they're not necessarily connected. They rub up against each other. They bump into each other. They go up and down against each other. But so because they're kind of floating on the magma that's underneath it, the kind of semi-liquidous magma underneath, they're able to move by pressure.
Right.
If it was a balloon, it kind of squishes down. So I have noticed, though, where if a large earthquake happens on the West Pacific side of the Pacific plate, down in Indonesia or Japan or Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, down in that region, up on the opposite side of the plate, there's movement. Up in the Northwest Territory, up in the Aleutian Islands. And then there'll also be pressure on the other side of the plate in Chile or Bolivia, Argentina, Colombia, Peru, on the western side of South America. So when one side pushes up, another side pushes down. I mean, it's just like this.
Yeah.
If one side of the plate pushes up with a big earthquake, the other side of the plate over here moves down. So where there's another plate, they're doing like this as they're also moving side to side along each other. So that atmospheric pressure is beginning to make sense. And that's what you're studying.
Yeah, right.
So,
and then if you picture the center of a low pressure, it's most dense at the center of it because it's drawing down. So sometimes you'll see beforehand, if there is a lot of moisture ahead of the low pressure system, you'll see precursors to a larger earthquake.
right.
So that could almost give you a 12-hour window before predicting an even bigger earthquake. If you see something that's, a 2.5 or a 3.2 kind of a thing, then you know that if there's a low pressure system or a hurricane or a cyclone or a typhoon or whatever it is, you know that
it's going to increase.
When the center goes over,
it's going to increase.
Bigger. Right.
Right. Exactly.
If you get a small earthquake in the front of the storm, then you can give yourself a little bit of a 12-hour forecast.
Right.
And just over the past 2 years, major anomalies in the northern hemisphere and in the southern hemisphere. I'm going to show you guys here. It almost looks like there is 2 jet streams in the southern hemisphere. Okay, look at my satellite imagery right here. So one going this way and one going this way. And then we have the equator, which is also going this way.
Yeah.
Now let's go around the world.
almost a
Southern
mirror
hemisphere
image.
again. Southern hemisphere again. So here's your jet stream from the Antarctic, right here. And all these low pressures follow. But it seems like there's one right here in between our equator and the southern, or South Pole. Here we are looking over Africa. And then again, jet stream is here, over this, down in the South Pole. You can see it spinning right here.
Right.
But then there's this other line right here, which encompasses the whole planet, the whole southern hemisphere. And I have this app where it can show all the low pressures and high pressure in the southern hemisphere, 5-day forecast. And all I see is these storms getting bigger and bigger. I don't get it. If this is a precursor to, yeah, mini ice age, there's a lot that we need to look into. And a couple other YouTubers out there, Adapt 2030, and I can't think of anything right now, but a lot of this mini ice age is brought about because of cycles, planetary alignment, solar cycles, Earth cycles. There's so much at play. And every 300 years, for the past millennia, there's been an ice age every 300 years.
How long did they last?
I'm actually looking for a picture here right now. Just gonna let me get at the page here. Page. There we go. Come on now. So slow. Internet. Come on. Okay, here we are. So this is a graph that shows, eventually, once it shows up, okie dokie. Yeah, it didn't work. Let's close that.
That's all right.
Try that again. Sorry, folks, we're having technical difficulties.
It's okay. I think it's just you and I right now anyway.
No, we got Henny Penny. She's in here too.
Hey, Henny, what's up?
Yeah. Just said what's up to her, and yeah, nobody else. There's oh, we got somebody else. We got 4 people
That's
hanging
okay.
out with us.
I just dropped a link on my Facebook page.
Good
So
stuff.
we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get. Here's the picture now that I'm looking at.
I was going to ask you, like, how long do the mini? We know every 300 years, but how long do they last in between? You know,
20
it's
years.
like
20 years at least. We're looking at a gap. Looking at a guy here. The Dalton minimum lasted from 1801 pretty much till 1823, and then it started to get back up. And this is all. This is a graph showing sunspot numbers throughout history, ever since they started recording in 1757.
Right.
So Dalton minimum was quite a drop, less than 60 sunspots throughout the years from 1801 to 1812. At one point, there was 0. So watching this graph, you can see every 300, or sorry, yeah, every 300 years, this huge drop. And we are now at this same sunspot level as we were in 1757.
Right.
So that means from 1757, we're 3/4 of the way through it. So let's say from 1750 until 1801. So 50 years it took for that ice age to hit. So within the next 20 years, we're going to see an extreme drop in sunspot activity,
which will reduce the temperature.
Which will reduce the temperature.
Right.
Because there's less solar flaring, less coronal mass ejections.
Right.
And
less heat hitting the Earth from the sun, essentially.
Right. And during our grand solar minimum, which happens every, 22 years, we also have a magnetosphere that is broken down.
Right.
It's not protecting us as much as it should be. As much
now,
as it would with the maximum.
Yeah. Right. Now, since you mentioned the magnetosphere, add to that something that maybe we should talk about sometime, maybe not today, but at some point, is CERN and the Large Hadron Collider and the particle smashing, and they're dropping beam drops down into the core of the Earth, which is affecting the magnetic forces also at the same time as what you're saying right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think we can definitely touch base on that in the next couple of weeks. I think we can actually do a whole show on CERN. There's a lot to talk about there.
Well, Penny's asking if I'm Penny, you're asking me if I'm a Nibiru enthusiast. Mike and I talked about that briefly. I'll just say not yet. I'm really kind of focused right now on developing my model for forecasting earthquakes. And so I really haven't looked into it a lot. I do try to, watch other people's videos on it. Right now I'm observing. I'll just put it to you that way. I'm just watching what's going on and the dialogue that's taking place about Planet X and Nibiru. Mm-hmm. So I do pay attention to it. I'm not oblivious to it, but I'm not really inclined to make too many comments about Planet X or Nibiru.
Yeah, and myself as well. I'm still pretty skeptical. I've seen some strange things throughout my time, and as of late, I've seen some even stranger things. So, but I'm still not convinced. I need definitive proof with my own eyes.
Right.
And I'll be watching for that this winter solstice, because last year, like I was mentioning this to you, last year there was something that I was seeing in the sky every day at the same time as the sun was setting throughout the winter months. And I don't know exactly what time it's happening now, but at 4:30 my time, I would see this anomaly in the sky, and it would be stationary and totally like nothing else in the sky or that.
Right.
So yeah, still pretty skeptical on the Planet X and the Nibiru thing. I mean, there has been documented historical documents that have told about Planet X stories and the Red Kachina and Nibiru and the reptilian race.
Right. And that's what I'm saying.
There's so much garbage out there. It's hard to decipher it all. We have to be able to.
And that's why I wanted to address Penny's question about that, but just to say that I'm not oblivious to it, and I'm learning about those kind of things, but I'm not really up to par on it enough to comment about it. We all see crazy stuff in the sky. We're all experiencing a paradigm shift, sort of. I think about 5 or 6 years ago, there was a paradigm shift. Something changed in our world, our universe, in our consciousness. Something changed over the last 4 or 5 years. And so all of these things, I never heard in Nibiru. I'm a pretty smart guy. Back in the early 90s, I managed to memorize most of the 9,000 pages of the Internal Revenue Code here in the United States. I can recite to you portions of the Constitution verbatim. So I'm a pretty smart guy, and I've got a pretty good eye on, seeing through bullshit. But I haven't really had time to investigate the Nibiru thing or Planet X and get my mind around it. Is something that I need to look into, and I will look into. I have friends that are all flat earthers. I just don't engage in the dialogue because I don't know. And when I don't know, I don't say anything.
Yeah.
So basically, if I say something, it's because I did my homework and I know what I'm talking about. Especially when it comes to earthquakes.
Yeah. And flat Earth, I don't want to even get into that because it's not even conceivably possible. But Planet X and CERN and a couple other things. We're gonna be touching on that. But right now, this is all about weather, and
right.
This is my thing. This is what I study, and what I've been noticing recently is anomalies and a lot of great changes in our atmosphere. Here's a picture of Google Earth. It always gives you a live satellite feed of the cloud tops. And look at the size of this low pressure system that's spinning. Oh.
So this is all the way up in the upper atmosphere.
Yeah, this is an upper level low.
Okay. And so where are you situated there? Near Antarctica?
So yeah, this is Antarctica and in between Africa.
That's the southern tip of Africa. That's down the southern tip of Africa.
Yeah.
All right. So close to Antarctica, off to the coast, I see 2 or 3 systems. Or am I just wrong in looking at that?
Oh, there's tons. There are like 8 of them spinning around right now in the southern hemisphere.
So they're kind of swirling around, which is that image, the gray image to the left.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And then
I've seen a slight uptick in seismic activity down there near the South Pole, near Antarctica, over the last year. But I've only been kind of looking into, that area over the last year as well. So I don't know. I haven't had time to go back, through older records and look. But over the last year, I have noticed a lot of the bigger earthquakes, 5.0s, close to 6s, down there, all the way down there near Antarctica.
Yes.
Just below where you're at right now is the South Sandwich Islands.
Mm-hmm.
And just a little bit further south is Antarctica right there.
Yeah.
And so it seems like there's been over the last year about 10, 5.0 to 6.0 earthquakes right in that area that you're circling around.
That's right. And a lot of volcanic activity as well in the Ascension Islands.
Exactly. The Ascension Islands and the South Sandwich Islands are essentially all volcanoes, same as the Aleutian Islands up in Alaska.
That's right.
All of those islands, every single one of them, are volcanoes.
Yeah.
I'll even go so further as to say this. I think that all of the continents, the separate plates, are all gigantic volcanoes. There's magma pressure underneath pushing its way up to the surface, either at the edge of the continent or the plate or in the middle. It's the whole crust of the earth is a gigantic series of volcanoes.
Right. Christian Westbrook, welcome to our live stream. He's here. We've got a guest here, Mark, and I don't know if I can get him in here or not. I'll try to invite him up here. Let's see what I could do. I forgot his email. Sorry to cut you off there. I just noticed that he was here.
No, it's okay.
Wasn't expecting him, so.
I'm saying hello to Christian. How you doing, buddy?
Okay, there we go.
I'm watching the chats. I'm watching the chat on my cell phone over here.
Yeah, and I'm watching on my iPad too. All right, so I want to welcome all viewers to the World Weather Warriors on Weird Weather Wednesday. This is another hour live stream where we discuss the last 7 days for weather events throughout the world and also geological, as we have Mark Mucci here, our earthquake Earthquake analyst? I don't know. Earthquake forecaster? What
Yeah,
would we call you, Mark?
I'm an observer.
He's an observer.
I watch
Earth
what's going
observer.
on, and I just kind of record my thoughts on it and keep notes. So I like to consider myself just an observer. I'm not a scientist. I failed ninth grade science 3 years in a row. So but
Oh, that's
somehow or
okay.
another,
We won't hold it against you, Mark. You might not like that. I said we won't hold it against you. That's okay.
that's okay.
Might not like
me. They bribed me to leave high school by giving me a diploma.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah. Okay. So our topics today: atmospheric compression, earthquake. So do you believe that these low pressure systems can correlate and cause earthquakes throughout the world?
Yeah, absolutely.
I do too. I mean, when you think about it, it's just logical. Most times it's lower surface earthquake, or sorry, shallow.
Right.
The deeper earthquakes are caused by tectonic plate movement, volcanic activity. What else?
Well, I don't necessarily think that, Mike. First, I classify the earthquakes into two types: large, deep earthquakes and large, shallow earthquakes.
Okay.
Well, I guess three types, and that would be everything in between. But large, deep earthquakes. So my definition of a large, deep earthquake is a magnitude of more than 4.0 and at a depth, an origination depth of more than 200 kilometers.
Okay.
Anything above that in depth, shallow earthquake. So a large earthquake is anything over a 4.0. A large deep earthquake is greater than 200 kilometers in large shallow earthquake obviously is one closer to the surface, 50 kilometers, 10 kilometers, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that large deep earthquakes produce or cause large shallow earthquakes, and that the seismic pressure from that large deep earthquake transfers around the earth along the plate boundaries, fracture zones, and faults that run along the plates as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the large deep earthquakes are coming obviously from pressure within the center of the earth. But again, one of the things I'm hoping that you and I can kind of figure out together is how the planetary alignments, the solar activity, and these high and low weather systems affect them. And one of the ways that I already immediately recognize that a weather system could affect earthquakes is by the pressure that you're talking about, but also the weight of the water that comes down in the form of rain.
Right.
And that water is heavy, and it can displace certain locations that are along fault lines and cause earthquakes.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, we know that where there's been dams built, within a short period of time after a large dam being built and that water collects, the weight of the water that's been dammed up can cause a fault to slip. So there's that aspect of it, that the atmospheric conditions can bring rain, and that rain can add significant weight enough to make a fault shift.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's multiple angles on this whole thing. There's so many things. Obviously,
and that's why I have you here, Mark.
Right. Well, and so
I want to learn more about earthquakes. You want to learn more about weather.
Right. We talk a lot about precursors. And so, what is a precursor for a large, shallow earthquake that's big enough and at the surface enough that people will feel it, or it could cause damage or kill people? So I think what we're both trying to get at in the long run is how to tell people days in advance, not a few minutes, but days in advance, that this pressure is coming towards them and that there's a certain percentage likelihood that they're going to get hit with an earthquake, and they can at least prepare. We have talked about that privately, yourself and I. But that's really kind of what the goal is as far as what we're talking about today.
And your research, my research.
Right. To try to be able to not scare people, not freak people out, not go on a bunch of conspiracy tangents, but to actually figure out a way to predict these things or forecast them. I don't like the word prediction, but to forecast them, to give people time to prepare. If you know something's coming, you're not nearly as afraid as you would be if it just hits you out of the blue. The science community says that earthquakes can't be forecast or can't be predicted. I know for a fact, and I believe I've proven with my videos, people like yourselves doing your videos, that it can be. You can forecast for them. And I've noticed yours. You and I have only known each other for just a few weeks.
Yeah, it's true.
But I picked up on your videos that you're getting more and more accurate as time goes by. And so once all of the information that we share with each other converges, at some point we will have a model that can forecast earthquakes within a 95% accuracy as to location, timing, and magnitude, and forecast them for a certain day 3 years from now. We talked about that privately as well. It's totally within the realm of possibility that we could develop a model to forecast for an earthquake 25 years from now on a certain day and warn people that much in advance so they can adjust their building habits and living habits.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to researching all this together and getting our brains together and getting this done, because the few predictions that I made over the Mediterranean about a week ago, the reason why I put those out is because there was very large low pressure and high pressure convergence. So there was a large low pressure system that was blocked and stalled in the Atlantic Ocean, the northern Atlantic, by a high. Now, eventually, once the high pressure let it go, and then it had moved inland, it split up into two, and then one went straight for one low pressure system developed and went straight for the Mediterranean, and then stalled. So that's I put a prediction out, or sorry, I put a forecast out, earthquake forecast, because I've seen that happen before. When I think we had the last big earthquake in Italy was like a 6 point. I can't remember.
I think it was a 6.3.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
6.3. Just before that happened, there was a large low there. Go on. Yeah.
I was just going to say, though, similar to what's going on up in the atmosphere that you're looking at, underneath the Earth in the asthenosphere, the same kind of movements of the magma and everything are happening. And seismic pressure will also do that. It will split off and go in two different directions. And I've shown that a lot of times in my videos, where if an earthquake happens in Fiji or Tonga, it will go to the north and to the west into Indonesia, and it will go across the plate over to South America. And within hours, a similar size earthquake. So just as above, so below. Now, Penny asked if there's a difference in the feeling and damage if the quakes are shallow. Yeah. In Tonga and in Fiji is an origination point where we see almost, I'd say 80% of the large, deep earthquakes on the Earth are originating in Fiji and Tonga, right in that region for some reason. And so they're 500 kilometers down below the Earth. That's not it could be a big earthquake, but because it's so deep, it really wouldn't cause any damage. No one would even really feel it. So if it wasn't for scientific data, collecting that and reporting it, we wouldn't even know that it happened. But the earthquakes that move up to the surface from that, if it's in a populated area, yeah, you're damn straight people are going to feel it. And if they're not equipped for it, as far as the structures of the buildings, you can collapse buildings and people can die.
Yeah.
So yeah, the difference, definitely the depth, to answer her question, the depth makes a big difference in large, deep earthquakes versus large, shallow earthquakes. The large, shallow earthquake is the one that kill people and break stuff. Large, deep earthquakes you generally can't feel.
Yeah.
But the reason they're important, the reason the large, deep earthquakes are still important, is because that's what causes the large, shallow earthquakes that cause damage.
Yeah.
I hope that answers the question.
Yes, it does. So this big one, 6.8 over the Philippines, very shallow earthquake. What do you make of that one?
That is, if you go back and look at the earthquakes prior, several days prior to that earthquake, there was a large, deep earthquake down Congo region. And so that pressure over the course of several days moved up to the surface, and then it transferred west right into India. It'll go up. It'll go up into Myanmar and Burma, Singapore and Asia and India. Little hook right there, but it'll also go along the West Pacific up through into Japan and Kamchatka, up into Russia and the Aleutian Islands, and over into Alaska. And that's that semi-fixed trajectory that I was talking about.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So Henny, to answer your question succinctly, large shallow earthquakes are worse than large deep earthquakes, except that the large deep earthquakes are what cause the large shallow earthquakes.
There we go.
So talk about atmospheric rivers.
Yes, I would like to. Let's get started here. So looking here along the northern jet stream, the northern hemisphere, you can see this huge line of moisture going west to east. And this has been a reoccurring thing for about 3 weeks. Now, what I've seen happen is very large low pressure systems get up to this point from the equator, and then they get pushed back down. So this jet stream is so strong that it's even blocking low pressure from getting to the northern hemisphere, to the North Pole. Now, if I go around the world here, you can see the same thing happening over each ocean. And this is happening just due to daily evaporation from the sun. But it's also due to an extremely fast and strong jet stream, which is creating larger storms. You can see that one form there. Huge high pressure comes in from the north, and then instantly you can see it. It almost has an eye.
We had a pretty wicked storm come through down here in Florida where I was at last night. A couple of tornadoes touched down pretty close by to where I am. That's exactly right where your arrow just was. That's where I'm in.
Yeah?
There, right there.
Oh, okay, right here. Yeah, yeah, I can.
A lot of that came in last night. Today it's, cloud cover, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, yeah, you can see the formation right there. That is the last 12 hours, I think. So maybe 16 hours. Yeah, and pretty nasty storm in Russia as well, killing 18 people. And what I saw there, let's go over. And I wish I had recorded the satellite imagery from the previous 12 hours, but I can always go back. But this is the storm right now.
Right.
This is the center of the low. This low pressure to the northwest of this low, there's two lows right here, believe it or not. But this is the storm that went over Russia and killed 18 people. And this is the low pressure system from Taiwan. And this came in from the land and went west. And the large low that was coming from the north in Russia, they crashed. And that's what happened. There's huge convergence. And now we're looking at Cyclone Mora. Right here is the center of Mora.
Right.
Okay.
India got hit pretty hard too.
Bangladesh, Myanmar, India, that whole area. They were seeing winds up to 100 miles per hour. And same with in Russia, just from a thunderstorm, they had hurricane force winds, 118 miles per hour. Unreported, but still. Right. So I could see this track now of Mora is going to come right up into the jet stream, the atmospheric river.
Now, if you could,
yeah,
give a definition of atmospheric river. The term
atmospheric river is where our jet stream is carrying all of the low pressure systems, pretty much driving them. As the jet stream is going around the Earth, it's driving these low pressure systems. Because the low pressure,
there's a lot of moisture in those streams, right?
yes, most times actually the jet stream doesn't contain a lot of moisture itself, but it's the low pressure systems that join the jet stream that can create more moisture and a larger low pressure.
Okay.
So with daytime heating, as the sun goes over the ocean, clouds form, it falls back down, but a lot of it doesn't. If there's a jet stream that is picking it up and throwing it west to east, then what happens is it just follows the straight jet stream. And over the open ocean right now, there is no fluctuation. It doesn't go, the jet stream doesn't go up and down as it does over land. It's going straight across.
Right.
And all the low pressure system, all the rain just follows it like a train. You can see it here in the southern hemisphere too. Here's your daytime heating, storms along the equator. Then this line here, it's dragging moisture right from the equator. This is the jet stream in the southern hemisphere.
Right.
And look at, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 low pressure centers just under Australia.
Wow.
What is going on? No, this is weird.
Yeah.
This is just really weird. You know, and these low pressure systems, look at the cloud tops here. This is the other side of the world in the southern hemisphere, but this is a very large low.
Yeah. New Zealand right there to the right.
Yeah, New Zealand.
Yeah. So our globe's upside down on your screen.
Yes, it is. Yeah, let's fix that.
No, it does that. I have a little trouble with Google Earth when it does that. I get vertigo.
Oh man, yeah, vertigo is right.
It helps to see, you know, where everything's at and how it's moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so these atmospheric rivers, my description of them is just a train that carries moisture along our jet stream. And the reason why it's happening is this, because everything is ramped up. Wind speeds around the world, the sheer size of low pressure systems and the density of low pressure systems has increased over the past 10 years. And I've watched that myself throughout my study. I've never seen satellite imagery like this in the southern hemisphere. Okay, 20 years I've been watching.
I take your word for it. I take your word for it. This is the most I've ever watched anything related to this kind of stuff. So I'm definitely intrigued and interested in knowing it because, like I said, if there's moisture being carried with it, I need to know about that to work that into my model for forecasting earthquakes.
Exactly.
The more information, the better.
Yeah. Here we are over India. And a little bit of Australia again. You know, where am I going here? We need Africa. There we go. So here we go again. Out of South America. Low pressure system coming from the equator, being thrown north to the jet stream in the southern hemisphere, and it stretches. And then once these large low pressure systems gain speed and wind speed from the jet stream, they gain strength and more depth.
Right.
And then they'll come over here to Africa, hit the coast and go around, and sometimes just get stalled and then eat another low pressure system. Seen it happen in South America here, as a low pressure system would come across, Argentina. You see one there?
Yeah.
It breaks off, goes across, and then right into the jet stream again. Now there's an upper level flow. You got lower
Let me ask
level.
let me ask you something while you're on that spot right there. So up to
Sure.
the north there, near Colombia, up at the top part of South America,
Yeah.
all those white,
Yes.
is that moisture?
Yes. Those are thunderstorms, pop-up thunderstorms. Basically what you see in the States every day when it's really humid, you get those supercells that just come out of nowhere.
Right.
That's pretty much what all these are. They get peppered every day. You've got tropical rainforests up in here. Just rains every day, just from daytime heating. But you know, these clouds are covering. It looks like, you know, if I wish I had a full globe picture, but the data just can't handle it. But it's probably about 55% covered in cloud.
Right.
And when I logically think about that, I really don't want to see Earth have more than 75% cloud, that's for sure. So if it does keep increasing like this, are you seeing this formation here of the new tropical storm number 2E?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should probably
Huge high
definitely,
pressure
where I'm
coming.
at in Florida, I need to keep my eye on that system right there for
I
sure.
was just going to tell you that. Yeah, because
Well,
yeah,
we're at the beginning of our hurricane season, very beginning. I don't think we've had anything. Like I said, last night we had a few crazy storms move through really quick,
mhm,
just a narrow line of storms. But that disappointing to me.
right.
Those, we get them coming from over near Africa, coming across the Atlantic, but we also get them coming up through the Gulf of Mexico, right where
Hmm.
you're at,
Well,
coming up right through.
what we need to watch here, okay, is the low pressure that's developing over the Rockies again. You see it? Watch. We're right there. Okay.
Right.
So depending on how warm it is in the Gulf of Mexico, like how warm is it today in Florida?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't even really looked, but Florida's always seems like it's 150 degrees. One
Yeah.
second here. I'll look. I'll look
Does it
on my
feel humid?
phone. Humid today. Again, we had a lot of moisture come in last night.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look on my phone while you talk. Let's see.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, as this low pressure builds over the Colorado Rockies and New Mexico, or no, not even over the Colorado Rockies. This is still Mexico. What am I talking about? Yeah, so you've got this large low pressure is going to pull the new low pressure, going to pull it right in.
We're at
Wow.
91 degrees with light rain.
91, eh?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see here over the next 36 hours how it plays out. Because you do have a little bit of, ooh, you might have some tropical development right here over the Caribbean too.
I see it. I see it.
Yeah. So a lot of things playing out here in the Gulf of Mexico.
Well, interestingly enough, again, related, but maybe not. I don't know yet. Over there on the left-hand side of the screen, in Mexico,
Yeah.
very large earthquake, shallow earthquake, that is going to transfer pressure right over to the same area over in the Caribbean that we were just talking about. So both
Yeah.
those areas just simultaneously, while they have these weather patterns, having seismic pressure in both of those exact locations. I don't know whether that's just coincidence or not. And that's, again, that's at the end of the day, I hope to try to figure some of that out.
Well, I mean, look at this. We've got two 5.3s in the past 12 hours.
Yeah.
Right where this hurricane is developing.
Right.
right?
Right. That's the pressure.
That's pressure, and that's shallow earthquake.
Yep. Yep. And there hasn't been a large, deep earthquake in a while over on that side either.
Nope, not since Chile.
Right.
That's pretty shallow.
Looked like your earthquake 3D. There was a large, deep earthquake over in Puerto Rico area right there. That one that's raised up high off the globe.
Right here.
Back up to
Nope.
the Caribbean. Yeah, right at 1 o'clock.
This guy right here.
That's standing up. Yeah, that's a large, deep earthquake.
Yeah.
And because it's white, I think the white are the newer ones, right?
Yes. Yeah, whiter or newer, redder.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my model suggests that because there was that large, deep earthquake, same area will be a large, shallow earthquake of equal or similar size magnitude.
Mm-hmm.
4 hours. Now, the pressure comes from over in the west in Mexico over into the east in the Caribbean. It doesn't go the opposite direction.
Yeah.
If it was a large deep earthquake, there will be in that area a large, shallow earthquake.
Okay, we'll be watching for that. That's for sure.
Yeah. There'll be.
Heads
I
up,
don't.
everybody. There's a lot going on.
What is the magnitude of that large, deep earthquake over in Caribbean?
Let's see. It's hard to tell. There's so many around there.
Right. It's the white one that's standing high up off the globe. Right
yeah,
there
it seems to be about the same size as this 4.4. So, yeah.
So that guy right there is probably a 4. So I would expect a 4 or a 5 in the same kind of region right there in the Caribbean, 4 to 48 hours.
4.2.
Yeah. I would expect a 4.5 to a 5.0 range in that general region right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a plate boundary that runs from Mexico all the way through the Caribbean.
Yeah.
The Caribbean over there where that earthquake is, it snakes down into Venezuela.
Yeah.
In that gray area right there.
Yeah.
It kind of curves down.
Right here?
No. Right underneath the large deep earthquake at the top of South America. The gray color there.
Yeah, I got Venezuela mixed up with Argentina.
Yeah, exactly. I used to do the same thing. Don't feel bad. I'll tell you one thing, if I've learned anything over the last few years, is I know my geography. Like, I know names of places I never heard of when I was in high school, like Tajikistan. What the hell is Tajikistan anyway? Who lives there?
Tajikistan.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, I know, and I fumble through the names of the volcanoes and everything, but I'm learning them every day.
And myself as well. I consider myself rookie here. I've only been studying weather for 25 years. And
I heard you trying to pronounce Sakurajima over in Japan the other day, and I laughed because I can never say it right either. It's Sakurajima.
Sakurajima?
There's Iwaniso Ajima or some. There's lots of Jimas in Japan for some reason. I don't know.
Yes,
I have a lot of friends over there. I actually have Facebook friends that live in the Philippines, mostly Japan, down into Australia and New Zealand.
Oh, nice.
A lot of people that follow my YouTube channel live in those areas. Seems like the Americans aren't interested. They think it doesn't affect them because the pressure transfers across the plate. So when there's a large earthquake up in Alaska, it moves down into the Northwest Territory and to the West Coast. That pressure eventually moves across the United States.
Yeah.
So if there's a large earthquake on the West Coast, within a few days there'll be a large west, and then a semi-large earthquake on the East Coast. Aside from that, if there's ever a very large earthquake in the United States, say around Oklahoma, it's likely to disrupt the transport system. And if you see that big there's a whole swarm of earthquakes right there in the center.
Yeah.
All of that started out on the west coast up in Alaska.
Yeah.
And makes its way across the North American continent out into the Atlantic. But because they're fracking and drilling thousands of holes right there in Oklahoma in the center of the country, America, it's a weak point. And so it acts like a pressure relief valve. And as the pressure's moving from the west to the east, it makes a pit stop right there.
Right.
What we're looking at right now are all coming from the west coast, and they're similar size. Coast, you'll see swarms of earthquakes on the west coast. You'll have swarms of earthquakes a couple of days later in the Midwest, in Oklahoma, northern Texas, Arkansas, Nebraska, Missouri.
Yeah,
that's all the area that's known as the New Madrid fault line.
Right. I was just going to say, I think you called it a couple times, or I couldn't think of it. Yeah, the New Madrid fault line.
New Madrid. And so yesterday there was even a small earthquake down in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
It wasn't large enough that anybody would have felt it, but it was large enough that the seismology people picked it up and reported it. But it's because that pressure moves even from those earthquakes in Oklahoma. They move through Tennessee and Kentucky and Virginia, North Carolina, up the East Coast.
That's a lot of earthquakes from fracking.
It was a very small earthquake. Depending on what feeds you have on your earthquake 3D, it might not show up out already. It was just yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I screen captured it. I can send you a picture of it.
Yeah, definitely do that.
It was tiny, like a 0.1. I mean, a 1.0.
Oh, yeah.
There's that one up at the top there. That's where pressure has made its way along the North American craton out into the Mid-Atlantic Ridge up north.
Yeah, that's right.
Keep going to like 2 o'clock. Now go up. There you go.
Oh, yeah. See?
Pressure came from down in Fiji and Tonga. It made its way around the Pacific Plate, up into Russia and Alaska, back down the west coast of the States, and out into the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. It also comes across Europe and China and Russia.
What thing? Oh, hey, Mark, I'll be right back, buddy.
Okay.
Keep chatting there. Everybody's watching.
All right. I'm on my own. Anyway, I wish I could take control of the screencast there. Yeah, I can. Screen share. Maybe I can take over. I don't know. All right, so I'm screen sharing now. Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, buddy. I was doing a time-lapse video outside and had to stop it.
The screencast?
Nope.
Have I
No,
I was trying to hijack. I was trying to hijack the screen.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. You can have it back.
So, one thing we did not touch base on today yet is mini ice age. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is we're going to try to load up. Let's go to a different screen share here. Let's take it off screen share.
I'm showing everybody my Hello Kitty cup.
Well, there we go.
I'm not gay, so don't even worry about it. Not that I'm homophobic. Whatever. Shut up.
It's still not right. Anyway. But yeah, we're going to close this. We're going to open this and see if it works for me.
So, Mike, tell everybody about your Patreon.
Oh, yeah. This is a new thing. Just last night, I decided to sign on to Patreon. Now, the reason why I did that is because I want to keep doing what I'm doing, but I also want to be better at it. I need to get a better laptop. I want to get my own weather station. I want to get this. I want to get that. I want to be able to do this for my full-time job for everybody worldwide. This I do in my hobby, in my spare time. So I spend literally 18 hours probably working each day. My real job, and then researching and making videos for everybody here.
You
So
said your
yes,
real job.
so I would like a real job where I don't have to physically work anymore
Yeah.
and just share my research with everybody and keep everybody informed, and hopefully I can actually save some people's lives. And I've said it before. There are people who literally sit with their headphones on and they'll watch YouTube videos. They'll just be watching YouTube, not hearing what's going on around them. Anything can happen. You could have a tornado form a kilometer away from you, and all of a sudden you get a notification from Morning D.E.W saying there's a tornado. And you take your headphones off and you go and get yourself into a safe place, right? I could save your life. Morning D.E.W is here for you. Daily events worldwide. So the Patreon account, I wanted to start it because I'm getting a lot of support and a lot of awesome subscribers who have stayed loyal to me, and um, I just want to, I'm not asking for money. I'm just putting it there for anybody that would like to contribute to further research and further develop this channel. You would be fully accredited. All subscribers, of course, because without you guys, this isn't possible.
Well, you know what? I started doing a lot of my sharing of my research with people on Facebook. Just like you and I had talked about, I started out using my cell phone, screen capturing things and posting it on Facebook, and then writing out in the comments section, writing out my forecast.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I was really limited in what I could do, but I was still, spot on, saying, earthquake's going to happen in Japan. And it happened, but I was really limited with just a cell phone. So I don't, I totally understand that. People don't understand that it takes money. It doesn't take a whole lot of money, but you have to get a good laptop. You have to have a lot of memory. You got to be able to run a lot of things at the same time.
Yeah.
I feel you on that.
Yeah,
so
brother.
if anybody that's, a friend of mine is watching this video or sees this video, and he deserves, you're going to spend $5 on something stupid, give it to him.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. We're just going to go to screen share again here. And yeah, I haven't really set it up on my channel yet. So this was pretty much just announcing that I have become a Patreon member. And I look forward to meeting in any other Patreon creators and supporters out there. And just want to thank you all for watching my videos every day and for your love for Mother Earth. You have tapped into my love for Mother Earth and my research, and I'm here for you guys. So what we're looking at here is our solar system. Okay, so during the mini ice ages, there's been a lot of planetary alignments. I can't really show any right now. I'd have to spend some more time putting the stuff together. But there are a couple other YouTube creators that have talked about this before, where during a mini ice age there's a conjunction of planets that seems to trigger in these minimums. And what ends up happening throughout history is that Earth, Venus, and Saturn become in full conjunction. And when they do, I don't know, I can't explain it. I don't know exactly what happens, But during these times, it has sparked mini ice ages. So there's something to do with planetary alignment, um, grand solar minimum, and also Earth changes, like Earth cycles. Nobody really takes into account of that.
Right.
But when we look at
Right.
this, is pretty much, we can look at this, and throughout stories and throughout scientific research with everybody, you can draw a map like this. This is the sun. This is the sunspot graph. But if you correlate it with planetary alignment, conjunctions, right here, Earth, Jupiter, Venus. Same with here in the 1880s. As I said, I'm going to do another video on this, and I can show you exactly, because I can go back in time and show you where planets work. So I could go back to 1900s and show you that during this time, there were 3 planets aligned with each other in conjunction. And same with this new minimum. And I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but when you look at Saturn setting in the western sky, it looks huge. It's really bright. And it's only, over the past decade that I've noticed it. Just, I don't know, it just seems so much brighter. So Arctic ice age, if we are on the verge of that, which I think we are, then it would make sense as to why these jet streams are reacting the way they are. So that's part of my theory as to, yes, we are going into this mini ice age, and that we will be affected, and that we need to start learning other ways to adapt to our new climate and adapt to a social realm. Because during these times, there's going to be people out there trying to deceive you, and there's going to be people out there trying to scare you into a psychological warfare that's happening throughout the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we need to be vigilant with the truth. And that's why I am here, because, I'm here to talk about weather and the effects of weather throughout the world. So much depends on the weather, more than we even know it. So, I appreciate everybody that has, joined me in these live streams and conversations and watching my videos every day. I thank you guys. Thank you very much. I look forward to more live stream conversations. I look forward to furthering my research with Morning D.E.W and with you, Mark Mucci. It's been a pleasure having you on today. I really appreciate all of your knowledge and your information that you've given us today. And I hope everybody else has learned something, because I know I did.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to try to learn together. So, hopefully you'll have me back on, and hopefully I can figure out how to do this over on my YouTube channel. And, we could just bounce things off of each other. Obviously, I welcome your I'll share this later on my YouTube channel, and hopefully some of my subscribers can also start to watch you. And also, you guys who do watch these videos, don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to tell us your ideas on what's going on too. There's always somebody smarter, right?
That's right.
Always somebody that's smarter than you. I do want to give a little bit of credit in Dutch Thnx. If you guys haven't heard from him or heard of him, I would suggest that you check him out. He does a lot of research. My model is based on his model, but he also knows quite a good bit about planetary alignments and the solar activity and things. So maybe try to get him on the show one day. That'd be a real exciting thing. I think he's got a few 100,000 subscribers. So I appreciate you letting me come on here. I know we're going to jump off now, but hopefully I'll come back on whenever you're ready, and maybe I can have you on my channel as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know what? I wouldn't mind you here next Wednesday. If you want to plan that, we could do that again.
Sure. If I'm off, I got to cut meat. I cut meat for a living at Whole Foods.
Yeah.
So a good company to work for, and I appreciate the job opportunity. So in the meanwhile, we'll stay in touch on Facebook. It's just Mark Mucci. I'm easy to find, and
Okay.
I welcome pretty much anybody.
All right. Well, thank you, Mark, for joining us again. This has been another live stream event. 1 hour with the Weird Weather Wednesday with the World Weather Warriors. It's kind of a tongue twister. But yeah, we'd like to stay young and have fun and try to share all of our research and our love with everybody else out there. All you fellow YouTubers and subscribers, thank you for joining me today. This has been an hour with Morning Dew. Say bye. See you, Mark. We'll see you next time, buddy.
I'll see you.